Okay, so this is Nothing Phone 2A. This is the Nothing's most best-selling smartphone and one of the best-selling smartphones at this price range. And most of all, it's my first Nothing branded phone. So here is the 2 months review of the Nothing Phone 2A, where I found out some good things and one issue with this phone. But before that, this phone has two major highlights when you look at it. One is the design and build, and the second thing is actually the display. The design is so damn unique, and you can't deny that. When I bought it, I was like, this is kind of weird with all the lights and design. I found it to be a beautiful phone after all. But it's still a quirky design for sure. Not everyone gonna like the Glyph light focused design elements, but who will, they will actually love it. I mean, I surely appreciate the Glyph lights. They look cool, but I've rarely seen them. Like, I don't have a use of them. I don't find them useful. But I still appreciate having them because no one else is doing it. So why not? You can turn them off if you don't like it. So why not? But this unique design has one cool thing to flex: the temperature management. When the outside temperature is like 41 degrees or 43 degrees at the max, with mostly 70 to 100% brightness, this phone stays amazingly cool. But mostly it felt cool. Because even if the phone gets hot, because the plastic back with this kind of design, where there is a gap in between the components and the plastic back, you will never feel the heat at all, unlike the other phones that you're gonna feel the heat directly. Now, this phone is also available in many colors nowadays in the market, but I think this bright white color, unlike most phones doing white, is the most beautiful one. And yeah, the plastic bag doesn't get yellow over time if you're thinking about that. Now, this Galaxy S10e, though, seems like a design inspiration for the Nothing Phone 2A. Even when I first looked at it, I thought the same thing. But it's a massive phone in the hand if you compare. Just say it right beside the iPhone 15 Plus. It's the same size phone. It's a 6.7-inch panel, and I have a screen protector on, so the bezels might look a little odd, but it does have thin symmetrical bezels. It's not the most thinnest bezels though, but this phone is not a flagship phone either, so keep that in mind. It's kind of unbelievable to me when I first grabbed it. Like, I was like, oh no, this shouldn't be here. But yeah, the display quality though is really fantastic, but it's not 100% color accurate. But it's almost close to that flagship level displays. So, I mean, like, I don't want to complain. Plus, it's a very usable outside, like with 1300 nits of peak brightness and about 1100 nits of manual high brightness. Very good, but I'm more used to that 2000 nits of peak brightness of the iPhone, so it doesn't feel enough, but it still is good. But it also excels in another area, that is the PWM frequency, with over 2100 Hz rating, much better than most Samsung and Apple devices, so it's really good. And the cherry on top, 1 to 120 Hz adaptive refresh rate at this price point. I wasn't expecting this. 1 to 120 Hz? That's crazy. Now, one bonus thing I found out recently is that any third-party tempered glass for this phone forms bubbles for no reasons. Doesn't matter how perfectly you do it, but it's still gonna do it. You can see it. Well, all of these experiences are only good because of few things. One, the battery life. Second, the software experience. And third, the processor. Now, the weakest point out of all of these three is actually the processor. It's not the most powerful one. It does the job pretty fine though. I mean, I haven't seen lags or frame drops, but it's slower for sure, like comparatively slower. But day-to-day use cases, you're not gonna feel it. Unless and until you play a lot of games, which is where you might see it over time. But the software experience has been great. It's smooth. Everything works so well. I'm kind of like against software updates nowadays because they f up the phone experience easily. So I don't care, but for the people who care, who wants to update, it will get 3 years of major Nothing OS updates or Android updates and 4 years of security updates. And Nothing OS has many unique and useful features, except it lacks one. It allows you to hide applications, lock any applications with your fingerprint, clone any application you want, shows the Apple AirPods battery percentages too on the quick tiles. You can even have quick tiles as widget on the home screen or lock screen, and they work flawlessly well. Like, I haven't seen them lagging or anything. Like this recorder widget, which works when you're on the call, so you can record the calls too now. There is also always on display, which is also a clone of the lock screen. A very cool idea, but wish there were more clock faces, so I would have loved it more, but okay, fine. But the AOD actually stays on always. There is no way to stop it. Either you turn it on or you turn it off. So overall, in the software experience, I would say it's probably one of the best software experiences after One UI because it's very stable. believe it or not, also really cool while being customizable. Now, the UFS 2.2 storage is a new thing in most phones coming in this budget. I don't know why companies are doing it, but maybe that's the thing. In day-to-day life, I have never felt any slowdown in it, even in installation of apps. Like, no, maybe if I transfer gigabytes of files from my computer to it or something like that, it might be slower. But I think most people shouldn't worry about these kind of things. The haptics are undoubtedly good in this price. Like, this phone has insanely good haptics. Now, they are not as good as the Apple smartphones, but definitely there is a big price gap. It's really unbelievable to think that they can do all of these things at this cheap price. Now, the third thing, the battery I was talking about. The experience is just insanely good. I've done a battery test with this phone versus my iPhone 15 Plus, which has one of the best battery life in any smartphone as of yet. This one beats that phone too. Even though I can say that this phone isn't that powerful, that phone is more powerful. So in certain games that consumed more power than this one, yeah, I get it. But overall, this is nowhere bad at all in terms of battery life. It can give you some insane battery life figures, like 1.5 days, 2 days battery life maybe. But it also does support 45-watt fast charging, which the iPhone lacks. It charges really fast, and I usually charge it though to 75% to be honest, so I'm not gonna claim that I charge it to 100% so that the battery health stays in a good place for longer term situations. Now, it doesn't have one feature, as I was talking in the software department, is the charging lock at 85% like Samsung's One UI. Now, it doesn't also come with a charging brick, so that's another $25 or so you'll spend. And just like the instant battery life with the 5000 mAh battery inside it, the phone performs equally good in 5G speeds and coverage. Even where my 2-year-old Samsung Ultra can't find 5G, this one does. The same way, the call quality is amazing, great cell phone reception with great speaker and mic quality. Never complained, no one. And talking about the speakers, they sound good. The loudness is pretty much fine, but it misses out on the depth and the clarity. Kind of feels a little bit like a treble heavy. You might totally enjoy it, but because I have heard better ones, so I don't really prefer it as much. But I'm not saying it's bad. Here's an example. Now, same thing can be said about the fingerprint scanner. It's optical, which uses the bright light flash to scan your fingertips, unlike the ultrasonic ones. So it's slow by nature, like every other ones from many other brands. But at least they didn't cut corners in this department. They did provide a good one. So overall, everything is good in this phone, whether it's the peak brightness, the display bezels, the IP54 rating, well-distributed 190 grams of weight, 8.6 millimeters thickness, the great battery life, charging, the build quality, and the unique design. But in one place, it kind of falls apart a little bit, and that's the camera department. First, it can't switch between 50 megapixel main and 50 megapixel ultra-wide-angle camera or to the 32 megapixel selfie camera while shooting a video, even though both cameras are capable of taking 4K 30fps videos. Yet you can't. Maybe the CPU is not that capable. The video quality though is surprisingly good on this phone, at least from the main 50 megapixel sensor. Even in lower light scenarios, I have used them in my YouTube channels too sometimes, and they are amazing. Same thing about the microphone and stabilization. These two things are also really good in this phone. I mean, the stabilization is surprisingly good, but the photos aren't that satisfactory to me. The selfie camera doesn't perform well. Like, I don't like it. Makes the human faces bright in some cases, dark in some cases. It's a little bit finicky. The main camera photos are though really good and saturated, but very much contrasting. Even though I do like that, but some people might not. I mean, you can see it if I compare it with my iPhone 15 Plus, you can see it. Now, I do love the fact that it can focus on a closer subject than the iPhone though. But okay, I don't turn on the HDR at all in any of these photos because that mode actually makes every single photos ugly. So I don't know why it does that, but I just don't want that. But also it does struggle with the human faces in difficult situations. I don't know why that is the case, but that's a thing. Nighttime photos are okay at its best. It's not anything to write home about. But overall, I would say this phone is my dad's most favorite phone he owned. He isn't even amazed by the camera though, as much. But he liked the overall camera experience, but not as much. Rather, he likes my Galaxy S10e photos more, if you care about that. So if you can compromise just a bit on the selfie camera or normal human photos, you're fine with a good performing processor, but not the fastest one, then the overall phone is a crazy good deal and a fantastic phone. But you have to buy the charging brick separately and there is no headphone jack. So yeah, what is your experience with this phone? Let me know in the comment section below. Or if you are looking to buy this phone, not from me, from nothing, also let me know what you think. And yes, if you feel like you need some really cool wallpapers for your devices, whether it's a tablet or a smartphone or even a laptop, well, I have some crazy cool 8K wallpapers, stunning designs, and amazing colors. Visit my website, joindavid.com, link down below. And until the next one, bye and take care.